We were home this morning or at my parents. I was at my shop and Hannah called me from next door and she said she wasn't feeling good. She's crying. I went over. Um, she, I noticed like her face was droopy, half of her face and her lips and stuff, and half of her body had no strength. So immediately took her to the doctor. When we got to the doctor, they did tell us her levels were normal in the sense of no high blood pressure, which was strange to the doctor because she said usually with stuff like this that she knew with the symptoms that it was something with the brain, but it was strange given her age and also the fact that she didn't have high blood pressure, which would be a huge symptom.
So I need to talk to you guys about Armando and Kenny today, because what happened this week is honestly one of the scariest things we have seen come out of this franchise in a long time. And I want to walk you through the whole thing, from what actually happened to Hannah, to why Armando could not even get to his own daughter, to how we got here in the first place. Because if you have followed this couple since season 2, you know none of this is happening in a vacuum. There is years of context that makes this hit different. Let me start with what happened, because the timeline moves fast and I want you to have it straight. Tuesday, Armando is going about his day in their small town in Mexico, and Hannah tells him she is not feeling well. He goes over to check on her, and immediately something is wrong. Half her face is drooping, her lips are not sitting right, and half her body has no strength in it at all. If you are a parent watching this, you already know that gut drop feeling. And Armando did exactly what you would hope any dad would do. He got her to a doctor immediately. Here is where it gets strange though, because the doctor runs the basic checks and her blood pressure is normal, which the doctor actually says is odd, because with the symptoms Hannah was showing, high blood pressure is usually the smoking gun. So there is no easy answer sitting right there.
You live in a small town and they don't have the equipment, the scans and all that stuff. So we had to transport her somewhere else.
So the family makes the call together, and I want you to sit with how heavy that decision is for a second. They decide the safest thing is to get Hannah across the border into the US, where she can actually get scanned properly. Hannah's grandmother goes with her by ambulance into Arizona. And this is the part where it stops being a scare and becomes an emergency, because once she is scanned, doctors find bleeding in her brain. Not a maybe, not a we are keeping an eye on it, active bleeding.
Again, they don't understand it fully, but they did. With one of the scans, they found that there's like blood in her brain. And so they're looking into that, but they still don't have answers. So they had to airlift her to Phoenix, Arizona, to the ICU there. And so where they're checking her, they're doing more tests. As of now, I don't have more answers. They're still doing tests on her.
She gets airlifted straight to an ICU in Phoenix. Armando shared footage of the helicopter overhead with just 3 words, "My baby girl." And if that does not get you in the chest, I do not know what will. Now here is the part of the story that turned it from a medical scare into a full-blown crisis, because Armando could not go with her. He is still in the middle of his spousal visa process. Remember that? We are going to come back to that in a minute because it matters a lot. And he tried to use a letter from the hospital to cross the border. Denied. He then reached out asking if anyone had contacts at a Mexican consulate who could help him get an emergency medical visa. And when that did not move fast enough, he tried requesting humanitarian parole at the border directly, also denied by Customs and Border Protection. So picture this, his daughter is in an ICU with a brain bleed 2 hours away, and he is standing at a checkpoint being told no. Meanwhile, Kenny is not even in the country. He is in Ohio for a family funeral when all of this breaks. He does not hesitate. He cancels the rest of his trip home and gets on the first flight he can to Phoenix to be with Hannah, because somebody from that family needed to physically be there, and Armando could not be the one. Hannah's aunt and grandmother stay by her side in the hospital in the meantime, so she is not alone through any of this, which honestly, small mercy, but still matters. A close friend of the family set up a GoFundMe to help cover the hospital bills, and Armando's response to that says a lot about who he is. He said he was honestly embarrassed to even ask for help, and it took his friend reminding him that it is okay to lean on people who care about you before he even posted the link. That fund has already pulled in over $28,000. So clearly the fandom showed up for this family the way it always does. Now the update that everybody needed to hear, the one bit of good news in all of this. Kenny has since reported that Hannah's physical symptoms have improved by about 90% since she got to Phoenix. That is a massive turn in the right direction, and I do not want to undersell how good that news is. But, and this is the part that keeps me from fully exhaling for this family, doctors still do not have an answer for what actually caused the bleed in the first place. So she is getting better, but nobody nobody can tell them why this happened, which means nobody can promise them it will not happen again. Okay, so now let me back up, because if you are newer to this couple, or you just remember them vaguely from a season or two, there is a lot of history here that explains why this story is landing so hard with longtime fans. Kenny and Armando are the franchise's first ever male gay couple. They made their debut on season 2 of The Other Way, and from the jump their story was never simple. Kenny moved his entire life from Florida to Mexico to be with Armando, and the two of them had actually been dating long distance for 3.5 years before he made that move permanent. They connected originally through a Facebook group for gay dads, both of them carrying real loss. Armando's ex-wife passed away tragically in a car accident, and Kenny had lost a set of twins to miscarriage at 4 months. That shared grief is part of what pulled them together in the first place, and honestly, it explains a lot about how protective they both are of Hannah. Coming out to his family was brutal for Armando. His parents are conservative, and at first they simply could not accept that their son was gay, let alone that he was building a life with an American man 26 years older than him. There is that moment fans still talk about where Armando brings Kenny home to meet everyone for the first time, and his father does not even show up. His mother shakes Kenny's hand, but you can see how hard that moment is for her. It took time, but eventually Armando's father came around, hugged his son, and the family slowly opened up to Kenny being part of their lives and part of Hannah's life too. On top of the family drama, they hit a legal wall trying to get married. Mexico's laws were not set up for same-sex marriage in the state where they were living, and when they went to the civil registry to apply for a license, they were flatly denied. The clerk basically telling them the Constitution says yes, but the local code says no, and there is nothing she can do about it. It was not until they pushed through more red tape that they were finally able to legally marry, and they did, tying the knot on May 22nd, 2021 in Baja, California. Through all of that, Hannah has been the constant. She was young when Kenny came into the picture, and over the years, fans have watched her grow from a shy little girl into one of the most beloved young personalities in the entire franchise. She calls Kenny her stepdad, and by every account, he has stepped fully into that role, showing up for her school milestones, her graduations, her day-to-day life, in a way that a lot of viewers say makes him one of the most genuine partners the show has ever had. There has also been real tension in this relationship that we cannot pretend does not exist, because it is part of what makes this couple so human instead of some fairy tale version fans project onto them. Kenny already has 4 grown kids of his own, and when Armando pushed for them to have a baby together, Kenny was hesitant for a long time. He is significantly older, and some of Kenny's own children have not exactly been thrilled about the idea of a much younger sibling they would eventually have responsibility for. They went as far as consulting a surrogacy clinic, picked a surrogate, and then that fell through at the last minute. So as of right now, they are not actively pursuing another baby. They have leaned into being dog parents instead, which honestly, after everything, feels like the right call for where they are in life. There has also been the ongoing question of the move to America, which ties directly into what happened this week. Armando has always resisted fully relocating because Hannah still has family on both sides in Mexico, her grandparents on his side, and her late mother's parents as well, and he has been firm that she needs to stay close to them while she is young. But over time, especially with safety concerns from cartel violence in their area, and simply wanting more opportunity for Hannah, they started the visa process, and it has not been smooth. Fans watched on 90-Day Diaries as Armando went in for his medical exams as part of that spousal visa process, and the day did not go how anyone expected. His x-ray came back showing lung scarring, which shocked Kenny, and it meant Hannah ended up passing her portion of the exam alone without her dad there with her, which visibly affected her at the time. So when you put it all together, this week's crisis is not just a scary medical story. It sits right on top of that exact unresolved visa situation. Armando being turned away at the border was not some random bureaucratic hiccup. It was the exact fear this family has been living with for over a year finally showing up in the worst possible moment, when his daughter needed him the most, and the paperwork simply was not finished yet. I think that is what is making this one hit so hard for people watching. It is not just a sick kid story. We have unfortunately seen those before across this franchise. It is a story about a dad who has spent years doing everything right, coming out, fighting for his marriage, trying to build a stable life for his daughter, going through the visa process the correct legal way, and still ending up on the wrong side of a border he could not cross when it mattered most. So where things stand right now, Hannah is improving, 90% better according to Kenny, which is genuinely wonderful news, and I want you to hold on to that. Kenny is by her side in Phoenix. Her aunt and grandmother have not left her. The GoFundMe is helping cover the medical costs, and Armando, as of the latest update, is still working every angle he can to get to his daughter. Doctors are continuing to run tests to figure out what actually caused the bleed, and until they have that answer, this family is going to be living with a level of uncertainty that none of us would wish on anyone. I will be keeping an eye on this one, and I will bring you the next update update the moment there is real news, whether that is finally getting Armando across that border or getting an actual diagnosis for what happened to Hannah in the first place. If you have been following Kenny and Armando since season 2, like a lot of us have, drop where you were when you first fell in love with this couple, because I think this family could use all the good energy we can send their way right now.